senior, and number 78, Jeff Floyd, a 220-pound senior. Starting guards are number 60, Jeremy Vickery, a 180-pound junior, and number 73, that's Scotty Moss. Moss is a 170-pound senior. At the center position will be number 76, Jay Blackman. He's a 215-pound junior. At tight end will be number 13, Jason Kraft, a 190-pound senior. The split ends for the Bulldogs, number 24, Brian Brannock. He's a 155-pound senior. And number 85, Brooke Newburn, a 165-pound senior. In the backfield for the Bulldogs, at quarterback, he'll be starting a sophomore tonight. Number 16, Brad Rowan. He's a 155-pounder. The starting fullback tonight for Hart County will be number 25, Barry Barber, a 175-pound senior. And at tailback will be number 27, Billy Rucker, a 190-pound senior. For Stevens County tonight on offense, at the tackles will be number 62, Mark Cox, a 170-pound senior, and number 71, Michael Moore, a 180-pound freshman. At guards, number 63, Chad Andrews, a 185-pound senior, and number 50, Miller, a 227-pound junior. Starting center for the Indians is number 52, Brad Whitfield, a 225-pound senior. At tight end tonight will be number 80, Bubba Simpson, a 175-pound junior. Some question as to whether Simpson could go tonight because of an ankle injury in that Franklin County game, but Coach Rodney Walker told us just before kickoff that he thought he was all right. At split end is number 15, Rob Stowe. He's a 135-pound senior. And the big roar you hear from below us is for the Indians of Stevens County, dressed in their black uniforms tonight. Black jerseys, black pants, and red helmets as they make their appearance onto the field for the home opener for 1990. In the backfield for Stevens County, at quarterback will be number 19, Perez Combs. Perez is a 145-pound senior. The starting fullback is number 33, Rico Combs, a 146-pound junior. And at halfbacks, what has been a tough tandem for the opponents to handle so far this year will be number 24, Chris Griffin, a 180-pound senior, and number 1, Jabbar Wiley, a 205-pound senior. We'll be back here at Stevens County High School for the kickoff for this home opener for the 1990 season for the Indians after this 2-minute break.
Let Toccoa Service Gas Company keep you warm this winter. They've been this area's dependable source for LP gas for over 2 decades. Toccoa Service Gas Company is ready to switch you over to clean, quiet, and efficient LP gas for home, business, or industry. They serve 5 Northeast Georgia counties with radio dispatch trucks, and they specialize in service. Toccoa Service Gas Company, Highway 17 South, Toccoa. They're good people to do business with.
Ford Lincoln Mercury Sales of Toccoa wants you to know that the all-new Ford Explorer is a versatile sport utility vehicle, even if you're only navigating the mall parking lot. Explorer's plush interior and ample cargo space make it perfect for your family. Your new Explorer will move confidently through rain, wind, and snow and still be ready for more. Visit Ford Lincoln Mercury of Toccoa and explore the new Explorer. Ask about Ford Credit's various financing plans for qualified customers. Ford Credit, get you going.
All Good Auto Supply in Toccoa, the place for auto parts. All Good has a complete line of car and light truck parts. And if they don't have the exact part you need, chances are good they can have it for you overnight. For light truck parts, car parts, machine shop services, and DuPont Automotive Finishes, see Bull, Ray, Chip, or John at All Good Auto Supply, West Currahee Street, across from Domino's Pizza in Toccoa. Call 886-2165 for All Good Auto Supply.
Troops Photo Service introduces Kodak Ektar 1000 film. If you're serious about 35mm photography, then you'll appreciate the incredible detail from Kodak's finest grain, high-speed film, Ektar 1000. It's perfect for low-light, high-action events like night football, and Troops offers 1-hour photo service. Every print is a big 4x6, and every print is guaranteed or you don't pay. And when you pick up your prints, don't forget to get 2 rolls of 35mm film for the regular price of 1. Troops Photo Service, downtown Toccoa.
The Hart County Bulldogs won the toss. They have elected to receive. Stevens County will kick off, and here for all the play-by-play action is Greg Pitts.
Thank you, Ted. Stevens County getting set to kick off. As we told you earlier, they're in their black uniforms tonight. That's what the seniors voted they wanted to wear. They're in black jerseys, white numerals, black pants with the red and white stripes down the side, and the red helmets. Going to be a little bit confusing. Hart County wearing black pants with orange stripes down the side, white jerseys, black numerals, and the orange headgear. Back deep to receive for the Bulldogs. They've got, it's like number 32, David Jackson back there along with Brian Brannock. Chris Griffin to kick off for Stevens County. High end over end kick that drives Jackson back to the 1-yard line. He's back to the 5. Try to set up a wall to the side to the 20. He's got an opening. 25, 30, down the sideline, 35, one man to beat. He's over midfield and saving probably a touchdown for Stevens County on the tackle there for the Indians, number 27, Michael Harrison.
Well, no matter what kind of underdog Hart County might think they have been, that certainly changed the momentum in a hurry. That was one tackle away from being a 6-0 Hart County lead. A tremendous wall was set up by the Bulldogs. They all came left, and that touchdown-saving tackle at the Indians' 49-yard line. And what great way to start off the ball game. Watch out for this one.
All right, Bulldogs, I formation, wide receiver to each side. Brad Rowland, the sophomore quarterback, looks it over. Going to give off to the first man through. That's the fullback driving in there, breaking off a tackle out down to the 40, down to about the 38-yard line. Billy Rucker, the senior fullback, on the carry for Hart County, and he's got a Bulldog first down. Boy, Hart County coming out here ready to play. They almost broke the opening kickoff for a touchdown. They had that set up perfect, too. They had even blocked the kicker. If Michael Harrison doesn't make the tackle for Stevens County, Hart would be ahead 6-0. Bulldogs check in number 29 at a wide receiver. That's Jason Tomlinson, who will be split wide to this side. Also split to this side is Brannock. Rowland turns around and pitches it to his tailback, and they run a sweep off the right side, who cuts in there to the 35-yard line. That's Barry Barber, the senior, on the carry. Mark Adderholt, the first Stevens County player to get there. Hart got about 4 on that play.
Well, one thing we found out, Hart County apparently is not very shy about running at James Singleton. As we said, Franklin County ran to the left-hand side away from Singleton last week. Hart County hasn't done it. They've gone at him twice.
Okay, wide receivers. Twin wide receivers to this side. Tomlinson and also number 24, Brannock, who's in more of a slot position. I formation, Indians, and what amounts to a 4-4. They run Brannock on a reverse play. Brannock cuts back into about the 31-yard line. That was sort of an inside reverse with the slot man, or the flanker back, if you want to call him that, and he got from the 34 to the 31-yard line. Big conversion play coming up here. Hart County's going to have a 3rd down and 3 at the Stevens 31-yard line.
And once again, remember, if Hart County gets down there, doesn't make the first down, they have the leg of Shane Bowers, and that's one thing that Stevens County coach Rodney Walker was concerned about. If you get down in close, once you stop them, you have to stop Bowers as well.
3rd and 3. Hart going to run the first man through. That's a fullback, and he's jammed up in there for no gain. Antonio Martin, and also in there, James Singleton on the stop for Stevens County. So the Indians stop it. They know absolutely no gain as they tried to run the fullback right up the middle that time, and the Indians were there waiting on him. Singleton wearing a different jersey tonight, by the way. He normally wears number 54. They've got him with 36 on tonight, and he was there waiting on Rucker, the Hart County fullback. So the Dogs are 4th down and 3, still from the 31-yard line.
And apparently no field goal attempt. They're going to go for it.
Brooks Mewburn split to the far side. Ken Wilson to this side. They stay in the I formation, and Rowland, the sophomore, back to throw. Rolling to this side. Looking. He overthrows his tight end, Jason Kraft, and a flag goes down right about the 25-yard line, and I think they may have had one of the linemen downfield, and now another flag goes down.
There certainly wasn't much contact, so it wasn't interference.
Yeah, that's going to be the call. They had a lineman downfield, an ineligible receiver. You could see the lineman probably 5 or 6 yards downfield. I don't know what the second flag is, whether that was just following up on that call, but he overthrew his tight end, Jason Kraft, who had a step on a defender out there.
I really have no idea what the second flag is.
Must have been more of the same, just both officials. Okay. Indians decline the penalty, so the Stevens County defense, their first-string defense, which has not been scored on this year, stops Hart County's first threat as they hold them on a 4th and 3 from their own 31-yard line.
But it certainly did give Stevens County's defense a lot to think about, because they definitely have the offensive weapons, and that was exactly what they knew. And they did the gov and stopped over the 30-yard line, so Stevens County still with good field position as now they start their first offensive drive.
Indians wishbone formation with 2 tight ends, not without a wide receiver. They run Wiley off the left side, Jabbar Wiley out over the 35, out to maybe the 38-yard line, so about 7 on the first play. Got about 7 yards on that first play. Ran off the left side. They were running behind, looked like Mark Cox and Chad Andrews had the big blocks that time. 2nd down and call it 3. Stevens County checks Bubba Simpson in there at a tight end now with a play. Unbalanced line to the right side this time. We've seen Stevens County do that a lot in the past. And they run Griffin off that strong side. Griffin out to the 40, trying to dive toward that first down marker. Going to be close as to whether he got it. For Hart County, one of the first people to get there, that's number 40, Stephen Smith, the linebacker, along with one of their defensive backs, number 14, Jeff Talent in there. Talent, the cornerback. Nice story in the Anderson paper today about Jeff Talent and what a good job he's done in coming back from a very serious injury.
I think the Indians got the pretty good spot. I think they've got the first down, but they're going to bring in the sticks from the far side just to check it anyway. Jabbar Wiley there to oversee the operation. Bring in the sticks from the far side. They put it down. Looks like he got it. And yes, just barely by half the length of the football. So the Stevens County Indians end up with their first down of the evening.
Indians check Chris Crenshaw in at a tight end. He gives the play to the quarterback, Perez Combs. Stevens County went with that unbalanced line. We've seen them line up in the past couple of years, and when they really want to power it at people, that's what they've gone to, and they're unbalanced to the right side again this time. They go back to the weak side to Wiley. Wiley out over the 45 to maybe the 46-yard line. Looks like about 5 yards on the carry there. On the stop there for Hart County is number 31, Jermaine Strange, one of their inside linebackers. Got a solid 5 yards. It'll be second down and 5.
Looks like the Indians offense gobbling up 3, 4, 5 yards at a clip, and that's pretty good. Again, credit that offensive line.
Okay, again, they're unbalanced to the right side. Second and 5. They run Wiley. Wiley over midfield into Hart territory, still dragging defenders down to about the 47 in Hart County territory. Going to have another first down. Stephen Smith over there, along with Jeff Talent on the stop. Had some help from number 23, Stephen Martin, who's in there, the linebacker now for Hart County. And they signal first down and move the chains, and we run the clock. We've played 4 minutes into the first quarter now. Stevens County and Hart County are scoreless. A battle between teams from the opposite halves of Region 8 AAA. Stevens County staying with that 2 tight ends. Now they break the wishbone, but they've still got a couple of tight ends in there. They got 2 slot backs in motion.
A lot of movement in that line now on both sides. I'm not really sure who was first, but there's an awful lot of movement on the offensive and defensive lines. They say illegal procedure against Stevens County. That'll set them back 5.
They had both slot backs moving that time, or both wing backs, whichever you prefer to call them, and you can't have 2 people in motion at the same time. So that sets them back to the 48, back across midfield into Stevens County territory. First penalty of the night against the Indians.
That's one thing Stevens County did not do last week, was hurt themselves with penalties. This is just a 5-yarder, and the way they're gobbling up yardage, it probably won't take them very much longer to get the yardage back. But you can't make a whole lot of those things, or you'll ruin your drive.
Stevens County unbalanced to the left side, and now the official is going to blow the play dead.
Stevens County had a man getting off the field very late. I don't know what that had anything to do with it. Looking at the backfield, it might be an equipment adjusting some equipment on Jabbar Wiley.
I think he wanted him to pull his jersey down. I believe the shoulder pads were exposed in the back there, and that was what it was. He was just pulling his jersey down. Okay, first down and 15, Stevens, from their own 48-yard line. 7:25 left in the first quarter, and the clock runs. Perez Combs looks it over, going to pitch it out on the option play here to Griffin. They get him outside to the 50, 45, 40 down the sidelines and run out of bounds at the Hart County 35-yard line. Over there to run him out for Hart County's number 21, Kevin Morris. And you're right, Ted, didn't take him long to get that yardage back.
Super run there by Chris Griffin. And again, you got to credit that offensive line. Lots of good blocking on that right-hand side. Griffin got around the corner, put on the speed, and got knocked down around the 33, 34-yard line of Hart County. So the drive continues. It started now at the Indians' 30-yard line after they turned back Hart County on their first drive.
Good job also by Perez Combs on reading the defense there and deciding not to give it to the fullback, pull it out, and give it to the pitch man. They're going to run a little reverse here to Wiley around the left side, inside the 35 to the 30, down to maybe the 29-yard line before Hart County can pull him down. First Hart County defender to get there is defensive end Rico Daniel over there on the stop. 6 solid yards on the carry there by Jabbar Wiley.
And one of the things the Indians do, they run it well, whether you're running to the left or whether they're running to the right. They run it well both sides. And that's, again, credit to that offensive line who really breaking up holes. And, of course, it just doesn't take much to get either Griffin or Wiley loose.
You're right. They have a lot of speed. Second down and 4 from the Hart 29. Going to run Wiley, and Wiley breaking off a tackle, still running down under the 20-yard line before number 42, Brian Griggs, the linebacker for Hart County down there, and also in on the stop, Stephen Smith, their other linebacker. Going to be another Stevens County first down as they got 9 on the play to the Hart County 20. That's 4 first downs by our record so far for the Indians.
And that showed the strength of Jabbar Wiley straight up the middle. Of course, good blocking, but just give him a little hole. And Jabbar Wiley, probably one of the stronger players on the ball club. And let's see, we have whistles blowing now. We have a Hart County timeout. So we'll take a 30-second break. This is Indians football on WZLI.
The Holland bulbs are in at Frick's Landscape Nursery and Garden Center, so get your fall planting underway. Frick's also has a nice selection of pansies and fall mums, along with their other fall planting goodies. Look for their bargain boxes and bags and get your bulbs as low as 18 cents each. Pine straws just $3.89 a bale. Frick's Landscape Nursery and Garden Center, West Currahee Street in Toccoa, and Dill Shopping Center in Livonia. Open Monday through Friday 8 to 5, Saturday 8 to 1.
We've got the hometown spirit. Nothing else comes near it. It's a kind of pride that you feel inside. The spirit of our hometown. Hometown spirit. Nothing else comes near it. You can see it on the faces of the people in the places. The spirit of our hometown. Hometown spirit.
Liberty Bank and Trust says, go Big Red.
6:23 left to go in the first quarter, no score. Hart County had a pretty good drive going, and it bogged down around the Indians' 30-yard line, so the Indians have taken over, and they're now down at the Hart County 20-yard line.
Stevens County first down and 10. They've got, let's try to check over these offensive linemen. Mark Cox, Chad Andrews, Brad Whitfield, Yaquis Cheater, and Michael Dooley in there now, along with the tight end Chris Crenshaw. Unbalanced to the left side. Going to run the option back this way. Perez Combs pitches it back to Chris Griffin. Griffin going to get down inside the 15, down to about the 13-yard line before number 20, Hank Harris of the Bulldogs, can run him out of bounds. So they got a solid 7 yards on that play.
It looked like that was going to be the first time they were going to catch him in the backfield, but Griffin put on some speed cutting around the corner and got about 7 yards on the play. 6 minutes left to go in the quarter. Still no score, and the Indians are driving.
Made a nice stiff arm on the play. That was good for another 3 or 4 yards also. Unbalanced to the right side this time. They've got Simpson in there and Crenshaw as well at a tight end. They're going to give it off to Griffin. Griffin inside the 10 to the 5, still driving down to the 3-yard line before they can pull him down. Boy, that's tough running after he was hit by Chris Griffin on the stop there for Hart County's number 14, Jeff Talent. That's going to be good for another Stevens County first down.
All right, they continue that drive. Remember now, it started at the 30-yard line, and they have just gobbled up yardage 3, 4, 5, and in some cases 8 and 10 yards at a time with Wiley and Griffin. And again, good play in the backfield and good faking in there by Perez Combs, the quarterback.
Something they're also doing tonight, they're using Yaquis Jeter, what amounts to a tight end. He and Crenshaw are rotating at that second tight end. First and goal from the 3. They run Wiley off the left side, driving. He's in there for a touchdown. Jabbar Wiley's got a Stevens County touchdown off that left side. Good block by Bubba Simpson. They ran back to the weak side, and Simpson made a fine block to get him through there. So the Indians are up 6-0 here at the 5:16 mark in the first quarter on a 3-yard run by Jabbar Wiley. He had 3 touchdowns last week in that win over Franklin County.
Once again, an early drive sets the tempo for the Stevens County Indians. Did the same thing last week against Franklin County.
You're right. The first possession, they drove it 71 yards last week. This is going to be a 70-yard drive. The try for the PAT is up and
We
good.
got a penalty flag down.
Yeah, flags are down, and you could hear the whistle blowing before they ever got the play off. Call's going to be offsides against Hart County.
Well, now the question is, do you kick it or do you try for 2?
They're looking to the sidelines now to make the decision. Of course, they have to do one or the other, as it was blown dead before they could get the kick. I think you decline it, put it back in the same spot where you normally kick it from, and go ahead and go through with the kick.
Well, I think they have moved it up, but they're still going to kick it.
Okay, so that's about a 1-yard penalty against the Bulldogs for offsides, and they'll try to kick it again. The holder for Stevens County is number 7, Chad McFarland. Jeff Dean does the snapping. So they'll set it down at the 9 and try the point after again. Good snap. Davis puts it up there, and this time he hooked it off to the left. He missed it. No good. So there's timeout on the field with the score. Stevens County 6, Hart County nothing.
Let Lewis Lumber and Supply get you motivated for fall cleanup around the house. Bob, Keith, Wayne, and Brandon Lewis will fix you up with plumbing, electrical, paint, roofing, and lumber supplies. They've been serving the Hartwell area since 1972, and they look forward to helping you. So make your fall remodeling and repair easy with Lewis Lumber and Supply, Cleveland Avenue in Hartwell.
Elliot Caudill and the staff at Caudill Realty are pleased to help bring you this special sports broadcast. Caudill Realty is Toccoa's oldest and largest real estate developer. From quality new homes to delightful duplexes, from large acreage to beautiful subdivision lots, and from residential to commercial, hundreds have counted on Caudill Realty. And Elliot Caudill invites you to visit Caudill Realty in their offices on Falls Road, Toccoa, across from the Stevens County Hospital, or call Caudill Realty at 886-2914.
No one loves your dirty laundry like American Laundry and Dry Cleaning. They're your full-service launder and dry cleaners, including fur cleaning, drapery cleaning, and shirt laundry. After all, your cleaner is your close best friend. So go for service with a smile. American Laundry and Dry Cleaning. They're open 6 days a week to make it extra easy for drop-off and pickup. American Laundry and Dry Cleaning, South Forest Avenue in Hartwell.
All right, Hart County on the kickoff, going to get another good return. Charles Goss on the return out over the 30 up to about the 35-yard line before Jason Oliver of Stevens County really cracks him down at the 35-yard line. Short kickoff that time, and Goss made a pretty good return out of it for Hart County.
Hart County has been pretty dangerous on the last two kickoff returns. Last time they returned the ball into Stevens County territory, it looked like there for a while that was what was going to happen again, but the defense made a nice recovery. And Hart County will start off now 1st and 10 at around their own 35-yard line. So they're going to have to be real careful when they kick off to Hart County. A dangerous weapon in coming back is Charles Goss.
Indians had 5 first downs on that opening drive, which was a 70-yarder. Impressive drive. Hart 1st and 10 for their own 35. They're going to run their tailback, number 25, Barry Barber, out over the right side, out to the 38, maybe the 39-yard line. Chris Heron coming up to make the stop from his free safety position for Stevens County. Give him 3 on the play to the 38. 2nd down and 7 now for the Bulldogs. Some other big games going on around the area now for this early in the season. Of course, the biggest one just up the road at Habersham Central, where the Raiders are entertaining Elbert County. That's a battle between the number 4 and number 5 teams in the state. And this region well represented this year. Stevens County is ranked number 3 in the state right now. Hart 2nd down. Quarterback rolling to run the option. Cuts in over the 40 to about the 41-yard line. Got close to 4 yards before that's number 56, Andre Scott, can pull him down. Or rather, Rob DeFore, who's in there, the defensive end, can pull him down. Dogs facing a 3rd down and 4 from their own 41-yard line.
And with 4 minutes left to go, 6-0, Stevens County scored on a 70-yard drive, kicked the extra point, but had a penalty, and then declined it, tried to kick it again, and missed it, so it's still 6-0.
2 wide receivers for the Bulldogs, I formation. Rolling, the sophomore, going to drop back to throw and roll to this side and get in trouble and cut in there and really get cracked. The ball rolls loose, and now Hart County picks it up. Are they going to blow it dead? Yes, they're going to say it was down right at the 41-yard line. Wow, what a lick right there. And I tell you what.
He's still down.
Yeah, he's down. Let's take a timeout here. We'll be back here at Stevens County High School after this 1-minute break.
In the land of Dairy Queen, we treat you right.
Fletcher Seabolt of the Dairy Queen in Hartwell invites you to come on by and get some of the best eating around. You'll appreciate Dairy Queen's friendly staff. They serve up everything from delicious Dairy Queen hot dogs and hamburgers to scrum-delicious Dairy Queen ice cream treats at Fletcher Seabolt Dairy Queen, Highway 29 North in Hartwell.
The land of Dairy Queen, we treat you right.
Modern Tire gets your vehicle rolling again with quality Goodyear tires and complete road service. And if Modern Tire
loaded up the side, they had 10 men on the line of scrimmage and just came pouring in, and Bowers had the punt blocked and rolled all the way over to the sideline. Somebody picked it up and returned it to about the 25-yard line. So a big break for Stevens County. They start deep in Hart County territory.
Scott Payne blocked the punt. Number 14 blew through to get it, but they had a host of people there. Indians going to run the sweep to Griffin. He needs a block over here. Going to stumble and fall in there to about the 21-yard line. Got about 4 on the play as they run that wing-back reverse, kind of wide back to this side. Payne blocked the punt, and it was Marcus Riley who picked it up and probably returned it another 10 or 12 yards.
3:22 left to go in the first quarter. 6-0 Stevens County. Home opener for the Stevens County Indians. So far, the black jerseys haven't affected them any.
No, they're doing okay with them right now. 2nd down and 7, Stevens County from the 21-yard line of Hart County. 2 running backs this time. They run Griffin off the right side down inside the 20 to about the 18-yard line. They're going to be facing a conversion play here. They're going to be 3rd down and about 4 from the 18-yard line of Hart County.
Stevens County hasn't had many 3rd and long situation. As you say, it's not much. It's 3rd and 4, but it is the first 3rd and long situation they had. But Stevens County has really been doing the job, but has been mostly on the ground. No passes attempted by either team yet.
Indian, third down from the Hart 18-yard line, unbalanced line, wishbone. They run Wiley off the left side. Wiley driving in there. He's going to be
close, real close.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the spot. They had to go just inside the 15 to get the first down. He may be a half a yard short. Yeah, they spotted with the tip of the football touching the 15. It's going to be fourth down and less than a yard here. Big play early on in this football game. Stevens County with a 6-0 lead. We're at the 2:17 mark, and Hart's defense trying to make a big stand here on fourth down and less than a yard from the Hart County 15-yard line. Wishbone, two tight ends. They run Wiley. Hart blows a man through, but he breaks off of that tackle and gets down in there to maybe the 12 or the 11-yard line. He's got the first down. Wiley adjusted real well that time, Ted, because Hart County had a defensive lineman to blow through there.
They're really stacked up, but as strong as Jabbar Wiley is, I mean, he's probably the strongest player in the ball club, and he made a real fine juke step out there and just ducked inside and picked up 2 or 3 yards and carried a couple of people with him. Wiley, it's going to take more than one person to knock Jabbar Wiley down.
You're exactly right. Awfully strong leg drive. First down, Indians at the Hart 12 trying to take advantage of the block punt. They run the option play to the fullback. Driving in there is number 37. It's Rico Combs. Combs did a good job of running. Got down to about the 6-yard line. Rico Combs, who has worn number 33 the past couple of weeks, has got number 37 on tonight. And they spotted at the 7-yard line. So from the 12 to the 7, he got a solid 5 yards. Indians check Bubba Simpson back in there to tight end now. Second down and 5 at the Hart 7. Stevens trying to get another touchdown here before the end of the quarter. They lead 6-0. This time they go with a 2 tight end formation in the wishbone, and they give it to Griffin. Griffin driving in there to the 2, down close to the 1-yard line.
Just been a steady, grinded process, going left and going right, and then occasionally they'll shoot one up the middle. You kind of expect Wiley to go up the middle here, when of course they're real down in close now. Let's see, they get a first down, or
they're going to look at it, and they're going to bring in the chains and measure here. That was Tyrone Freeman on that last stop there for Hart County, one of their outside linebackers.
All right, 1 minute and 1 second left to go in the first quarter. 6-0 Stevens County, down now at about the Hart County 2. They stretch out the sticks from the far side. It is first and goal. And that for Stevens County is 7 first downs in this first quarter.
Quite an impressive offensive performance so far. First and goal, Stevens County, right at the Hart County 2-yard line on the hash mark on the home side of the stadium. And this stadium just about filled up. It's full on the Stevens County side and probably, 85% full over on the Hart County side. First and goal, wishbone with the 2 tight ends. They're going to run Griffin, and he's really cracked. Boy, somebody blowing through there for Hart County. On the play for the Bulldogs, that's number 27, Billy Rucker, who blew through there and knocked Griffin down for a 3-yard loss. Big-time play there.
That was the first time Stevens County has lost any yardage, and all of a sudden a penalty marker goes flying up in the air, and I don't know what that was all about, because Stevens County was headed back in the huddle. Now what happened? I don't know what that was, but a penalty marker went flying up in the air. It's against Hart County.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against Hart County.
Somebody might have said something, because there was no contact whatsoever. Stevens County was back in the huddle. The penalty flag went up, so that'll eliminate the loss.
That's a costly penalty there.
I'm sure Bobby Fate's not thrilled about that. Especially after a great defensive play, all of a sudden you ruin it with an unsportsmanlike conduct. That's half the distance to the goal line, which it's not a big play as far as distance is concerned, but you certainly don't want that to happen.
Yeah, they'll mark it off, which will move it from the 5 down to about the 2.5-yard line, and it'll be second down at that point, although they still have first down showing on the down marker over there. That would not be right, because it was after the play was over, so or is it an automatic first down?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because now they've got the down marker as first down. Like I said, that's what, it's not so much the distance as what happens to the series, what happens to the drive, so it's unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, they penalize them down to the 2-yard line, and I thought the official signaled second down, but the down marker does say first down across the way. So at any rate, it's first or second down from the Hart County 2-yard line.
And now maybe they've changed it. Maybe the officials noticed across the way that it is first down, and they blew the whistle before the play got started, so maybe they're explaining that maybe it is still second down, because it happened after the play, but they don't change the down marker.
Okay. They run
half
the clock.
A minute to go.
They run the clock now. Indians at the Hart 2-yard line. They give it off to Jabbar Wiley. Doesn't matter because he's in for a touchdown. Wiley goes off the left side for another Stevens County touchdown, his second one of the night. And the Indians are up 12-0 here with 22 seconds left in the first quarter. Let's see, will they go for two here? I believe they are. Yeah, they're signaling the offense to stay on the field. So Stevens County going to go for the two-point conversion now.
All right, 22 seconds left to go, and a couple of pretty good drives. One was a 70-yard drive. This one wasn't quite as long. Started about the Hart County 30 after they blocked the punt and picked it up and carried it for a while. Hart County looks a little confused on defense here, but they're going to try to go for two for the extra point.
Indians have broken the wishbone. They've got Rob Stowe and Jabbar Wiley split out here to this side. They're going to run the option play to Griffin. It's a foot race to the corner of the end zone. Can he get there? He does. They say he just got into the corner of the end zone. Boy, that was close. That was really close. But they say it's good, so there's timeout on the field now with a score. Stevens County 14, Hart County nothing.
If the rain gutter system around your home is rusting or falling apart at the seams, it's time for you to take a look at Raingo, the solid vinyl gutter and downspout system from Genova. Raingo snaps together easily and won't rust, rot, chip, or dent like conventional metal systems, and it's all yours for about the same cost as an ordinary metal system. The strong and tough Raingo handling system, your answer to a better gutter system. Available at Grafton Building and Plumbing Supplies, Midget Drive, Toccoa.
Let me talk to you about the big Ace Best Buys of the month underway right now at Nuts and Bolts Ace Hardware, West Currahee Street, Toccoa. Ace 7-star latex sealing white paint, only $8.88 a gallon. The Ace 10 by 25 feet polyfilm, $2.57 each. And silicone sealant, $2.59, less a rebate of $2. Your final cost after the rebate, only 59 cents each. Limit 4. The place, Nuts and Bolts Ace Hardware, West Currahee Street, Toccoa, Georgia.
Chris Griffin on the kickoff, and this is Brian Brannock for Hart County. He picks it up at the 10. He's back to 15, 20, breaks the tackle, 25, 30, after the 31-yard line before Jason Oliver can pull him down. And again, Ted, Hart County doing a good job on the kickoff return.
Brannock made a super move at the 15-yard line. He was headed toward the right, but then cut back and picked up about 15 or 20 yards when he did that. And he looked like just another couple of tackles, and he could have been gone. So Stevens County's special teams are really going to have to be on the alert on these kickoffs for Hart County. I have a feeling, Greg, that sometime during the night somebody's going to break one all the way.
Yeah, and Hart County hasn't run that reverse that they like to run off a kickoff yet either. Dogs eye formation. They run Barber off the left side up over the 30 to maybe the 34-yard line. It's number 25, Billy Barber, the senior, got 4 yards before Antonio Martin can pull him down. And with that play, the first quarter is going to come to an end. So your score after 1 quarter from the reservation, Stevens County 14, Hart County nothing. We'll be back after this 1-minute break.
Stevens County Hospital is a full-service community hospital. Attention of the operating rooms will begin.
This will be a very, very prominent particular series for Hart County. They really need to do something with this.
This is check time for Hart County right now because they've really been shocked to be down 14-0 at the end of the first quarter, and they need to pick it up, and they need some points out of this drive, really. And now the official is going to blow the play dead. A lot of confusion here in the early going. I think now we're ready to play football. I think what it is, Stevens County has some jerseys that are pretty short, and the shoulder pads of the equipment cannot be exposed, and I believe that was what that one was about also. Hart County 2nd down and 7 from their own 34. They run the Goss, the halfback off the left side, and James Singleton just decided he'd interrupt that one in the middle of the backfield, and he throws him for a 3-yard loss. Excuse me, that was number 32, David Jackson, a freshman who's in there at tailback now, and James Singleton said, hey, welcome to the big time.
Boy, Singleton made a super play and certainly didn't need any help in doing it. It was good. Rodney Walker told somebody Singleton only made a couple of tackles during the season, and so somebody said he wasn't playing well. He says, no, they're just not running at him. That time they tried it, and Singleton made that play just absolutely all by himself and threw for about a 3-yard loss.
3rd down and 8 for the Bulldogs from their own 32. 2 wide receivers this side. They run Jackson off the left side. Jackson cuts in there for a couple of yards. Mark Adderhold, the linebacker. Now flag flies in here late. Scott Payne was also over there for the Indians. We might have had a hit that occurred after the whistle over there. Got a Hart County player a little bit slow getting up over there. Tell you what, while they sort this one out, let's go back to the station and take a 30-second break. Your score, Stevens County 14, Hart County nothing.
Ford, Lincoln, Mercury sales of Toccoa and Ford Credit know that you want fun, style, and excitement at an affordable cost. The all-new 91 Escort looks great from the bottom line up. Test drive any model from the sleek Escort GT to the roomy Escort Wagon. And note the exciting design and rich interior. This new Escort could be the most important acquisition you'll make. Visit Ford, Lincoln, Mercury sales of Toccoa today at the intersection of Highway 17 and 123 for complete details. And insist on Ford Credit financing. Ford Credit gets you going.
Back at the reservation where the 15-yard penalty was against Stevens County for a personal foul. It gives Hart County a first down all the way out to the 48-yard line now. Hart first and 10 from their own 48. They've got Brian Brannock split out wide to one side and Brooks Mewborn to the other side. High formation. And they give it off to Jackson, the tailback, and he's got maybe a yard in there. Antonio Martin on the stop. James Singleton at the bottom of the pile. Also in there, that's number 64 for the Indians. Ricky Gibson is in there, the middle guard now. The new Hart County quarterback, by the way, is Al Whitworth, a junior, and Whitworth's played a good bit this year for the Bulldogs. He and Rowland have, I think, rotated the playing time back and forth, and of course, Rowland went out with an injury a little bit earlier in the ball game. Wide receiver to this side's Ken Wilson. They've got a slot man, Mewborn, to this side. Going to run the option play, and Whitworth cuts in over midfield at the 46, maybe the 45-yard line on that second down and 9 play. Antonio Martin there again on the stop for Stevens County. Martin and Ralph Showalter, a linebacker, the two leading tacklers for Stevens County so far this season.
Another Hart County player that's injured.
This one looks like it may just be a leg cramp.
Yeah, it looks that way. So okay, well, we'll take it back to the studio for a 30-second break. Let's take it back to the 30-second break right now.
All Good Auto Supply, serving Northeast Georgia since 1933. Now, that's a long time, and you don't last that long in business without doing something right. All Good does it right, with a full line of car and light truck parts, machine shop service, and a complete line of DuPont automotive finishes. And if your exact part is not in stock, check with Bull, Ray, Chip, or John. Chances are that they can have it for you overnight. All Good Auto Supply, West Currahee Street, Toccoa. Call 886-2165 for All Good Auto Supply.
Back at the Indian Reservation, a Hart County player is still down, and as Greg said, it looks probably like a cramp. 10 minutes, 21 seconds left to go in the first half, and Greg, Stevens County, it looked very, very impressive once again here in the early going.
Two good offensive drives. I think anytime you get 5 first downs in the first quarter, you're certainly moving the football, and they now have 7. The block punt was a big play. Scott Payne, I think it was Scott Payne that had the punt block, and then Marcus Riley returned it another 10 or 12 yards and put them in business for that second touchdown. But the first drive went 70 yards and was really a thing of beauty. It was without a pass play, and just a good job up front of blocking and a good job by the running backs of following that blocking.
Hart County's got a problem now with numbers. That's the second player that's injured, and we don't know whether we'll see either one of them yet for the rest of the evening.
One running back, a couple of wide receivers. This is Whitworth back to throw, looking down the middle of the field. He's got a man complete to the 30, down to about the 28-yard line. That's the tight end, Jason Kraft, on the catch. Kraft all the way to the Stevens County 27-yard line, and he got in between the zone, and Whitworth did a good job of getting the ball to him that time. Perfectly executed play by the Dogs there.
For a backup quarterback, that was a pretty nice pass and a good catch. He had to reach up and catch it, but he was wide open there and picked it off, and it was a nice play altogether for Hart County. That's the kind of play that Hart County needs if they're going to get it back in the ball game. Maybe they might start throwing a little more because they're not having a whole lot of success on the ground. But then once again, you got to watch out for the Stevens County rush. So we'll see if they change game plans.
Hart twin wide receivers to the far side. The ball rolling loose there. Big pile up, and Stevens County's got it. Hart County's hurt themselves with a costly turnover here just when they had a drive going. Mark Adderhope recovers for the Indians at the Stevens County 29-yard line.
Well, just like Stevens County's coach Rodney Walker said, the team that has won the last 7 times they've played this ballgame has made the fewest mistakes. Right now, Hart County, I guess the mistakes probably are even, but Hart County has kind of hurt themselves worth. They had the punt blocked. Now they have a fumble just when they have a drive going, and the Indians take over at their own 29.
All right, man in motion is Griffin to the far side. They're going to pitch it to Griffin, and he's in trouble. Needs a block over there and going to be able to get outside now. And the ball rolling loose over there, and big pile up at about the 33-yard line. Who's going to follow him?
Dead.
Yeah, you're right. They're going to say he was down before the ball got loose over there. How in the world did Chris Griffin get away from a couple of people over there?
Griffin has rather elusive speed, and you don't really think he's that fast till you try to get out there and chase him on the corner, and all of a sudden he picks up 5 or 6 extra yards on her. Several times we thought Griffin was caught in the backfield. Boy, once he gets around the corner, he can really pick up another 5, 6, 7, 8 extra yards. He's very fast going around those corners.
One running back and two slot backs for the Indians. They send Griffin in motion again. 2nd down and 5. Hart with a blitz on this time, and they run. That's number 20. Rather, that's. We'll try to pick up the number on who did have the ball in there for about a yard that time.
That was a weird-looking play. That's all just right from the start.
14, Scott Payne, the ball carrier there for Stevens County. They had checked Scott in at a halfback. Scott's seeing double duty. He played some on defense already, and now getting in on offense at the halfback position.
8:20 left to go in the first half. It is 14-0. Stevens County has taken a Hart County turnover and moving back up the field again.
3rd and 3 conversion play here from about the 37.5-yard line, and they run the option play and pitch it to Wiley. He's got a lot of room now. 40, 45. He gets a big block. He's down the sidelines. Jabbar Wiley's going to go the distance here. 64 yards, and there are no flags on the play. What a block he got. And I didn't pick up the number on who made the block over here on the sidelines before somebody got wiped out, and Jabbar Wiley just went 64 yards for the touchdown, and I think it was Scott Payne. They're telling us it was Scott Payne who made the block that ensured the touchdown run. Perez combs Jabbar Wiley, perfectly executing the option for the touchdown.
Boy, once you get either Chris Griffin or Jabbar Wiley on the outside, they can just, they're big, but they're also very, very quick. A lot more speed this year than last year's team.
Scott Davis to try the point after. Good snap. He gets it up. Flag goes down again. The kick is good, but let's wait and see what the flag's all about.
It might have bumped into the kicker. I'm not sure, but we'll see. That occurred almost after the flag. We'll see what the fraction was.
A lot of penalty markers early on here.
You had more penalties in the first quarter and a half here, and you had all ball game last week.
They're talking to Stevens County. We still haven't seen a signal, but it's obviously against Hart County. It's going to be illegal participation. I think Hart County had too many players on the field. They're going to decline the penalty, and the kick is good. So there's timeout on the field. The score, Stevens County 21, Hart County nothing. We'll be back after this 30-second break.
When it comes to high-speed action in little light, only one film delivers incredible detail. The new Kodak Ektar 1000, Kodak's finest grain high-speed film. And when you bring your film to troops, all your prints are guaranteed or you don't pay. And all big, clear 4x6s, too. Pick up your next roll of 35mm film at the regular price and get a second roll of the same absolutely free. Make it the new Kodak Ektar 1000 and your prints will be sharper than ever from Troops Photo Service downtown Toccoa.
Jabbar Wiley has scored his 3rd touchdown of the night. 7:59 left to go in the half. It's 21-0 Stevens County. Here comes the Indians kickoff. And again, watch out for this kickoff receiving team by Hart County. I still have a feeling somebody's going to break one for the night, so.
What's happened on the penalty, it was not declined. Stevens County got the option of taking it on the kickoff, so they're going to get the kickoff on the Hart County 45-yard line. That is 7 touchdowns now for Jabbar Wiley in less than 2.5 games. He had over 100 yards last Friday night against Franklin County, and with that 64-yard run, he's well on his way to another 100-yard game tonight.
He probably have 100 yards at halftime.
8 first downs for the Indians here in this first half, as they are impressive, to say the least, in building a 21-0 lead, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter. Onside kick here, the ball rolling around there, and I think Hart County's going to recover it at the 36-yard line. A little bit of a different formation, and the ball didn't take the big bounce with a funny hop like they had hoped for there.
Well, you could almost tell something was up because they had 2 men on the far side of the field, 2 men on the near side, and then everybody grouped in the center, and just a little squib kick, and the Indians almost got it, but Hart County comes up with it. Now here's where Hart County really has to bear down, run some time off the clock, and get some points on the board.
Wasn't a bad time to try that, even though Hart gets pretty good field position, 36-yard line. That was not a bad time maybe to try that. Hart, wide receiver to each side, I formation. Whitworth still a quarterback. He gives off to Jackson. Jackson cuts in there over the 35 to about the 38-yard line. They've got a couple of freshman running backs, Paul Shiflett and David Jackson, who were just absolutely something last year at the middle school level for Hart County when they rolled up an undefeated season, and both of them on the varsity this year.
Yeah, Hart County's 9th grade team put a pretty good licking on Stevens County's team last year.
Hart's got another player injured across the way. That's Brian Brannock. Fine split in for them. They had a lot of people out before the game ever started.
That's the 3rd one that has gone out now, so their numbers are getting reduced slowly but surely.
2nd down and 7 for the Dogs. Brooks Mewburn split to this side of the field. I formation. Whitworth gives to Jackson, the second man through. He's in trouble behind the line of scrimmage, and they're going to knock him down over there. Andre Scott, a defensive end. He might have gotten back close to the line of scrimmage. Scott was in the backfield over there, and before really the play could develop. No gain on the play for the Dogs. They'll be 3rd down and 7 from the 38.5-yard line. And check Scott Payne back in there to free safety now.
Well, this field is still in great shape. Hart County has just taken a timeout, and we'll take a 30-second break. This is Indians football on WZLI.
If summer heat has kept you out of the yard, then start planning now for fall landscaping. The professionals at Frick's Landscape Nursery and Garden Center will be glad to help. Tom Fricks, registered landscape architect, Dolly Tabor, graduate North Georgia Tech horticulture, and Klein Fricks and John Keitel with 24 years combined experience on the job. Their work speaks for itself. Plan now for fall landscaping with Frick's Landscape Nursery and Garden Center.
Some games throughout Northeast Georgia. A lot of big games tonight. We'll try to bring you some scores a little bit later on.
You're doing double duty tonight, Ted.
Yeah, how about that?
We appreciate very much your bailing us out here tonight. Stephen Gower, probably somewhere en route by now, so we're looking forward to Stephen joining us later, and we certainly look forward to your scoreboard show, and I know some scores will be coming along our way in a little while, particularly on that Elbert County Hab Central game. Hart, 3rd down play here. Whitworth back to throw. Looking, going to throw long down the left sidelines now to his tight end. He overthrew him at the 35-yard line. He had that tight end, Jason Kraft, who was open, and he just overthrew him by about a step and a half.
I don't know about Rowland, but this Whitworth has a real good arm on him, and he's only the backup quarterback put in by necessity because Rowland got hurt. But Hart County is getting the receivers open. Stevens County is going to have to watch that. Whitworth has a pretty good arm. Now here's the punt.
Jason Oliver back in deep safety. Indians 10 men on the line again. They don't rush them all this time. High kick, going to be a short kick. Oliver going to let it hit over there, and it's going to bound down inside. A flag goes down as it bounces out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Flag on the ground over there about the 40-yard line, and we're being besieged by bugs right now, Ted.
Well, I tell you what, Stevens County was in on that punt. I thought they were in so fast, I thought they were going to throw a flag on Stevens County for being offside, but everything was all legal. Now let's check out what the flag was on the far side of the field.
A lot of penalties in this first half.
Got a clip on Stevens County. On the return, Stevens County is going to be penalized for a clip.
It's unusual to see a clip when there is no return, but...
Somebody got a little anxious in the blocking coverage, and a clip. So let's see where they're going to spot it.
They're talking with Stephen Smith, one of the captains for Hart County. He's a junior linebacker who played so very well as a sophomore last year. Now they're going to bring it.
They're not going to do it to Oprah, are they?
Is that going to give them a first down? It was during the play, so they're going to step it off from there. That's going to give Hart County a first down and keep the drive going. I thought it would have been after the ball was kicked, though. I don't really understand that call. Once the ball is kicked, I thought that you were considered possession having changed.
Well, once again, we mentioned the fact that you can make mistakes. Don't make the mistakes that are going to be critical. Here's a critical mistake by Stevens County that gives Hart County the ball back.
Big break for Hart County as it moves it into Stevens County territory at the Stevens 46.5-yard line. So
Hart's got 3 wide receivers. They only got 4 wide receivers.
All right, they go to the run and shoot offense. Whitworth back to throw. In trouble now. Going to throw down the middle of the field. It's incomplete, and a flag goes down.
Well, I don't know. We had 4 wide receivers, and Whitworth threw probably in the vicinity where there wasn't anybody. And we got a penalty marker down and around the 35-yard line, so let's wait and sort this one out. 6:32 left to go in the half. 21-0 Stevens County. We've had now back-to-back penalties on a pass. Let's see.
Pass interference
against Stevens County. That's another first down. Stevens County now not only has committed a penalty that gave Hart County the ball back, now it's pass interference. That's a 15-yard penalty, and Hart County now has the ball at the Indians' 32-yard line. Now the Indians are starting to hurt themselves with penalties.
2 15-yarders on successive plays, and the Dogs have gotten a couple of first downs, threatening now in Stevens County territory. Out over the 40 to about the 41-yard line. On the return for the Indians was Aaron Playstead, one of the upbacks on the receiving team. So the Indians will start 1st and 10. Good field position for their own 41-yard line to start the second half. Stevens County with a 28-7 lead. Perez Combs coming back in at quarterback now for the Indians. Brad Whitfield, the big senior center, up over the ball. Indians go with 1 running back. That's Rico Combs. They've got Griffin and Wiley in the slot back positions. They bring Wiley in motion to this side. They run Combs the fullback for a couple of yards, maybe 3 out to about the 44-yard line. The first Hart County man to get there. Let's try to catch the numbers. He comes up off the bottom of the pile. That's Stephen Smith, the junior linebacker on the stop there for Hart County. Got 4 solid yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for the Indians. Stevens County checks number 50, an offensive lineman, Matt Miller, in there to guard position. He brings a play in from the bench. Indians go back with 2 tight ends this time, and they're in the wishbone formation. They run Wiley, the second man through. Wiley breaking off a tackle and going to get up close to midfield before they can pull him down. Making a stop there for Hart County. That's number 77, Rico Daniel, one of their defensive ends. Wiley got within about a yard of the first down. They're going to be 3rd down and a yard. The ball's almost touching midfield. Stevens shuffling their offensive guards now with the play. Jacques Jeter, a big 250-pound sophomore, checks in there with the play now. Indians stay in that power formation. Hard in what amounts to a 6-4 defense. They run Griffin off the right side. He's got the first down as he knifes in there to about the 47-yard line. Got a solid 3 yards. Stevens County now has, by our records, 10 first downs on the evening. We said Hart County had 8 first downs in that first half and rolled up a lot of yardage, but could only put it in the end zone one time on that big pass play from Al Whitworth to Jason Kraft. Ball sitting on a hash mark on the far side of the field. Stevens County going to send Scott Payne in there to halfback position now with a play. They're going to have to hurry and get this one off because the time has been running. They'll hustle up to the line of scrimmage here. We're down to the 10-11 mark in the 3rd quarter. Stevens County 28, Hart County 7. Bulldogs have got 9 people jammed up in there close. They run Griffin. Griffin inside the 45 to maybe the 44-yard line. Got about 3 on the carry. Stevens County continuing now to just, this is the way they open the ball game. They're lining it up and just playing power football right between the tackles against Hart County. Stevens County now going to check Rico Combs back in there at a fullback and Rob Stowe at a wide receiver position. 2nd down and 7. The ball sitting on the hash mark on the far side on the Hart 44-yard line. Wide receiver to this side is Stowe. They keep the 3 running backs behind Perez Combs. Combs going to give it to the fullback. That's Rico Combs, who's inside the 40 to maybe the 39-yard line. Stephen Smith, the first Hart County tackler to get there. Had some help over there from number 51 for the number 41 for the Bulldogs. That's Tyrone Freeman, one of their other linebackers. Indians again with a conversion situation here. It's 3rd down and call it 2 yards at the 39-yard line of Hart County. Stevens County's had the ball for the first 3 minutes of the second half now. Trying to line it up and make a drive much like they did to open the ball game. Going to run the second man through Wiley, and he's knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. That's Stephen Smith, that junior linebacker who just shot through there and knocked him down for about a yard loss. So the Indians are going to be 4th down and 3 at the 40-yard line. Outstanding play that time by Stephen Smith. He came through untouched, and the Indians may kick it here on 4th and 3. They would not like to risk giving it up in such good field position to Hart County. They'll try to back them up in the hole here with a punt. Jason Oliver, the kicker, comes on. Hart going to drop 3 men back in safety. Number 24, Brian Brannock, is the deep man. Jeff Bean in there to do the snapping for Stevens County. Oliver standing back at his own 47-yard line, and now the whistles blow. We're going to get a delay call against Stevens County. Stevens County took too much time, so the second half starting back much like the first half did with penalties. We had 8 penalties in the first half and a couple that were declined. Penalty moves it back out to the 45-yard line. Clock stopped now at the 8:13 mark. Indians picked up a first down and tried to get a drive going, but Hart's defense stiffened. That was a big play by Stephen Smith on 3rd down to knock Javar Wiley down for a loss. This time Oliver backs up to his own 43-yard line. As we said, Hart County with 3 receivers back. Inside the 15 is the deepest one, Brian Brannock. Low kick off the side of his foot that's going to go out of bounds over here at about the 23-yard line. So no chance for a return, and I don't think Oliver hit that one quite like he wanted to, but Hart's still going to start from pretty deep in their own territory at the 23-yard line. Bulldogs on offense for the first time here in the second half. It'll be interesting to see if they come back with a philosophy that they ended the first half with, where they were just throwing the football almost every play. Al Whitworth back in there at quarterback for the Dogs. Whitworth, a junior, who really put it up in the first half. Dogs have got a wide receiver to this side and a slot man to the far side. Only one running back. They give it off to that running back, and he's knocked down right there at the line of scrimmage. That's James Singleton who's there again. Singleton blowing through to knock the running back down. That's number 26 for the Bulldogs, Paul Shiflett, a freshman on the carry. Lost close to a yard on the play. Singleton has had quite a night on defense for the Indians. 2nd and 11 for the Bulldogs, back at the 22.5-yard line. Wide receiver Brannock to the far side. They've got Brooks Mewborn split out to this side. Nobody's covering him right now. Now they realize it. And Whitworth back to throw. Looking to, going to try to throw to Brannock out there. It's complete, and they'll run him out of bounds over there at about the 28-yard line. On the play for Stevens County is Scott Payne, one of their defensive backs. On the play, they got about 6 yards. Out to the 28, it's going to be, well, give him 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Dogs at their own 28-yard line from that point. Hart County, big play here early in the second half. If they're going to try to get back in this football game, they've got to get a drive going here. 3rd down and 6 now from their own 28-yard line. Indians defense looks it over and shifts around. They'll cover the wide receivers. I formation for Hart County. Whitworth fakes, goes back to throw now, looking down the sidelines, trying to throw down there. It's picked off. Intercepted at the 45 by Scott Payne. Back to the 40, 35, 30, down the sidelines, 25, 20, and they finally run him out of bounds over there at about the 14-yard line. Scott Payne almost took that one the distance. He picked it off at the 45-yard line and returned it 31 yards down to the Hart County 14-yard line, and Payne was just simply back there playing center field that time, and he made the big play for the Indians. That's the 2nd interception of the night for Stevens County, and they're in business. They bring it in and spot it right at the Hart County 15-yard line. 1st and 10, Indians at the 15. Perez Combs checks back in at quarterback now. Stevens County with a touchdown here could have probably put this thing out of reach now. Wishbone formation, 2 tight ends. Hart shifts around. They're in about a 6-4 defense. And they give it to the fullback, driving in there inside the 10 to the 5, down to the maybe the 4-yard line as flags go down. On the carry was Gino Gibson, who's in there at fullback now for Stevens County. He's got a 1st down to the Hart County 4, but there is a flag on the play. The officials talk it over as they stand at about the 7-yard line. The marker is right in the line of scrimmage, the Stevens County line of scrimmage. I think that's an illegal block against Stevens County. Illegal block, and that one's going to cost them. They would have been 1st and goal at the 4. Instead, they're going to be backed up outside their own 20 now. Tough break. Both of these teams have hurt themselves with penalties tonight. It's not been the virtually error-free ball game that we saw at Franklin County last Saturday night. And this is a big one. 15 yards, moves it back out to the 29-yard line. So that certainly hurts your field position there. When you had it 1st down at the 14, they move it back out to the 29, and now the officials are going to stop the clock and lead with the 7:07 mark. Here in the 3rd quarter, Indians are facing a 1st down and call it about 25 at the 29-yard line of Hart County after the pass interception by Scott Payne. They have 3 running backs in the backfield, 2 tight ends. Perez Combs turns around and looks at a running back now. Going to run the option play to his fullback. That's Rico Combs. Now that's Gino Gibson, who dives in there to about the 25-yard line. On the stop there for Hart County at the bottom of the pile, it's number 56, Ted Moore, a sophomore linebacker. Indians got about 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd down from the 25-yard line and a long way to go. They've got to go down inside the 5-yard line to get that 1st down, so it's 2nd down and call it about 21. Clock runs now. We're down to the 6.5-minute mark here in the 3rd quarter. Combs going to look it over and give in there on a handoff to Chris Griffin, and he got maybe a yard on the stop again there. That's number 56, Ted Moore for Hart County. Had some help in there from number 20, Hank Harris, a defensive back. So 3rd down to the Indians. Conversion play here. They check Jason Oliver in. It's 3rd down from the 25-yard line. They also checked Darrell Brown in there. I wonder if they might try that halfback pass again that they threw down at Franklin County. Nope, Brown's a wide receiver to this side. Only one running back, Jabbar Wiley, in the backfield, and they're going to fake to Wiley, and Combs going to run the option play into the 20, to the 15, got some room to the 10, inside the 10, all the way down to about the 7 or 8-yard line. Good run by Perez Combs, the quarterback that time. Came out on the option play. Nobody picked him up, and he just tucked it under and took off from the 25 to the 7. He got 18 yards on the carry, and now it's the 4th down and short for the Indians. 4th down and Well, they're actually going to spot it at the 7-yard line. It's 4th down and 2 for the Indians. Stevens County going to check a couple of tight ends in there now. Bubba Simpson and Chris Crenshaw. 4th and 2 at the Hart 7. They're going to go for it here at the 5:26 mark, and the clock runs. Rico Combs checks in there at the last minute. Wishbone formation. Combs, Griffin, and Wiley are the running backs. And he's going to throw, look into the end zone, and throw for a touchdown to his tight end, Chris Crenshaw. On 4th and 2, they lined up in a running formation and fooled everybody. He faked into the line, and Combs dropped back and threw it perfectly to Chris Crenshaw, his tight end, for the touchdown. The Indians are up now 34-7. As Scott Davis, the kicker, checks in. Good call that time by the Stevens County coaching staff, and Combs executed it well, throwing for the touchdown. 2 good plays in a row by the Indians quarterback as he made the run off the option play, comes back on the next play and throws for a touchdown. Scott Davis to try the point after. Good snap. He gets it up. And it's good. So there's a timeout on the field. Your score, Stevens County 35, Hart County 7. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Pleased to help bring you this special sports broadcast. Caldell Realty is Toccoa's oldest and largest real estate developer. From quality new homes to delightful duplexes, from large acreage to beautiful subdivision lots, and from residential to commercial, hundreds have counted on Caldell Realty. And Elliott Caldell invites you to visit Caldell Realty in their offices on Falls Road, Toccoa, across from the Stevens County Hospital, or call Caldell Realty at 886-2914.
Chris Griffin kicks off for the Indians. High end over end kick that's going to hit and carry into the end zone, and he won't be able to run it out from there. It'll be an automatic touchback, and Hart will start, although they're going to return it now, and it's going to look like a wrong return, but they've blown it dead, and they should have the ball at the 20-yard line because you can't run it back out of the end zone. So while we sort this out, let me tell you that you're listening to 106.1 WZLI, Toccoa, North Georgia, and the Western Carolinas. This is Friday Night Football on your FM Sports Giant. It'll be first down now, and they're going to stay at the 38-yard line. They're going to let him run it out of the end zone, so that's different. In high school football, the call is supposed to be that as soon as the ball goes into the end zone, it is an automatic touchback. But, okay, 1st and 10, Hart from their own 38. Whitworth gives it off to their running back. That's number 25 in there for Hart County, Barry Barber, who comes out over the 45 to the 46-yard line. Got about 8 on the carry. 8 yards on the carry. 2nd down and 2 now for the Dogs. They're out over the 45. They spot it right at the 46-yard line. Down to 4.5 minutes now. A few people starting to leave now as the Indians have opened it up to a 4-touchdown lead. Wide receiver Brannock to this side, but Hart County, I bet you, is going to throw it a bunch here down the stretch. They're going to run it right here, and this is Barber again over midfield. He spins off a tackle. The ball pops loose. Big pile up. I think Stevens County's got it. They do at the 48-yard line. The Indians have picked up another Hart County turnover. I believe that was Andrew Scott, the defensive end, who fell on it. Yes, Andrew Scott came up with a fumble for Stevens County, and the Indians will go back on offense at the Hart County 48-yard line. All right, Indians 1st and 10 from their own, let's call it 47.5-yard line. As we told you, Aaron Griffin, the quarterback. Going to give it off to the first man through. That's Darrell Brown. No, correction, that's Gino Gibson in there at fullback. Gibson dives out for a couple of yards. Gino Gibson is a fullback. Darrell Brown is a halfback, and Al Burton a halfback. We'll try to pick up the numbers of some of the other players as they work them into the ball game now. Stevens County with a 35-7 lead as we start to get late in the third quarter. Wide receiver to this side, Stacy Mayweather. Hart County shifts around on defense. They're in what looks like a 4-4 now. Move the linebacker outside here, and Griffin going to run the option and pitch it to Brown. He's in trouble and breaks off a tackle. Going to try to go back the other way, and got some room now over midfield down to the 47-yard line before number 58 for the Bulldogs. Number 56, Ted Moore for the Bulldogs can pull him down. They had Griffin drop for what would have been about a 5-yard loss back there. He broke off the tackle, reversed his field, ran back the other way, and gained 3 yards on the play. Good run by Darrell Griffin, the sophomore running back. Darrell Brown, excuse me. I said Griffin, that's Darrell Brown. Brown, you'll remember, threw a halfback pass for a touchdown to Jason Oliver in the game down in Franklin County last week. Wide receiver this side for the Indians, that's Eric Addison, who's checked in there at split end now. He's split to the home side of the stadium. They're going to run Brown again. Brown down to the 45-yard line. That was 3rd down and 5 for the Indians. He's going to come up short of that first down marker. Ted Moore again on the stop for Hart County. Had some help from Joe Weaver, one of the defensive guards who's in there. Indians facing a kicking situation now as we're down to the 2.5-minute marker in the third quarter. We've got someone checking to see if we can get a score on that Habersham Central Elbert County game. I'm sure that as soon as Ted back at the station can pick something up on it, he'll let us know. Jason Oliver, the Indians kicker, is in. He'll drop back. Hart now going to bring 10 men up on the line and come after the kicker. Oliver standing at the 41-yard line, and there's movement. I don't know if Stevens County moved or if Hart jumped off sides first. If Hart jumped off sides, it'll give Stevens County a first down.
Greg, we do have this score. It is Habersham Central 16, Elbert County 7. That's in the fourth quarter.
Ted, thanks a lot. That's the big game, of course, going on just a few miles up the road, and the penalty is against Hart County. That gives Stevens County a first down. 5-yard penalty against the Bulldogs. Stevens has got another first down here, and the offense comes back out on the field. 16-7, as Ted just told you, in that big ball game going on up at Habersham Central tonight. Indians first and 10 at the Hart 40. 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Wishbone formation, wide receiver to the far side for the Indians. Griffin going to run the option. Bad pitch out. Al Burton, the running back's going to have to chase it down and fall on it back at about the 43-yard line. So Stevens not real smooth on the option play that time. It'll be 2nd and 13 now for Stevens. They're at the Hart 43-yard line. Rob Stowe coming back in with a play from the bench. 2nd and 13. This was a big crowd here when this one started tonight. A few people have started to head out now to try to beat some of the traffic out of here. Hope they'll be joining us as they head home this evening, and hope they'll drive carefully. And they run the fullback this time. This is the halfback Darrell Brown in there. Brown got a couple of yards. A couple of the yards they lost back to the 41-yard line. Indians will be 3rd down and 11 from that point now. 35-7 in case you're just joining us. Stevens County leading. Bubba Simpson in there at tight end now for the Indians. Bobby Pate and his Hart County Bulldogs are going to have to try to go back and regroup after this one. They won their season opener over west side of Anderson, South Carolina, 16-6, but it's been tough the last 3 weeks, and injuries have not helped them any. And going to throw. Griffin in trouble, trying to get away. The ball's knocked loose. Big pile up out at about the 47-yard line. There were a lot of white jerseys. Hart County probably going to recover this one. Officials still unpiling there. Now somehow Stevens County came back up with the ball. I think Griffin must have gotten back on it. That's a good job by Aaron Griffin to somehow get back on the ball. He had dropped back to throw, then was trying to tuck it under and run with it and avoid the rush, and somebody reached in there and knocked the ball out of his hands, and Aaron Griffin did a super job to somehow get back on the football. Indians 4th and long now. Jason Oliver back in there to kick. And that's going to be the end of the third quarter on that play. The third quarter has come to an end with a score. Stevens County 35, Hart County 7. We'll be back in 1 minute. All the way back to the Stevens County 43-yard line before they can pull him down. Brannock called the punt in at his own 9-yard line, faked a reverse, and faked a couple of Stevens County defenders out in the process. And the Bulldogs will set up shop with great field position at the Stevens County 42.5-yard line. 1st and 10 Hart now. It'll be Ken Wilson and Brooks Mewburn split to the far side. Al Whitworth still in there at quarterback for the Dogs. He goes back to throw. Wilson rolling to the far side, looking, throwing out on the sidelines. It's complete to Wilson. Wilson breaks off a tackle and comes down inside the 35 all the way down to the Stevens County 30-yard line before they can pull him down. That'll be a Bulldogs first down. So Hart goes to the air with a good field position here, and from the 43 to the 30, they got 12 yards. 1st and 10 Bulldogs at the Hart County 30-yard line. We've been joined by our broadcast partner, Stephen Gower, who did make it before the game was over.
Yeah, good to be here, Greg.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Enjoyed listening to you.
Twin wide receivers to the far side for the Bulldogs. They've got a slot man to this side. Back to throw. Straight back is Whitworth, who throws down the middle. The ball's batted up in the air and falls incomplete. That was Jason Oliver, who was diving for it down at about the 5-yard line. I think that was Ralph Showalter, the linebacker, who got his hands on the ball.
Also a little surprised with what's going on between Habersham and Elberton at this hour. That's a dogfight.
The last score we had on it now is 16-7, Habersham.
Back to throw is Whitworth. Whitworth in trouble. Now going to dump it off to a back out here at the 30, to the 25, and he breaks off a tackle, still running for yardage to the 20. They finally get him out of bounds down inside the 20-yard line. On the run there for Hart County was Paul Shiplett, the freshman fullback, who made a good play there. You're right. Habersham with the lead up there, but I'm sure that thing with Elbert, with the kind of offense that they have, they could certainly get back in it over there.
One of their key players just got hurt a while ago. Parati or something like that. Is that his name?
Yes, Kenny Perlotti is their quarterback, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, first down now. Hart at the 19. They're trying to come down the field and get a touchdown here. Back to throw Whitworth, looking, going to swing it out here to a back, and that's Shiplett. Shiplett down to the 25. He's hit, and the ball pops loose, and Stevens County scrambling for it. Did they get it down at about the 7-yard line? Big pile up there. If they didn't, Hart's recovered for a first down. Yes, they did. Stevens County has recovered at the 7-yard line. Hart County has hurt themselves with a turnover once again. Bulldogs have rolled up a lot of yardage tonight, but just have not been able to put it in the end zone other than that one time when Whitworth and Jason Kraft hooked up on a long touchdown pass.
One thing I did not hear you and Ted talk about a lot was the Olympics. Maybe you had mentioned it during tailgate or something, and I wasn't even around to hear it, but that's unbelievable.
It really is, isn't it? That's the reaction statewide to that has been as expected. That's quite an announcement, quite a boom for the entire state of Georgia. Quite an honor. Indians first down. They run a trap play off the left side. That's number 22, Edgar Warren, who's in there to running back now, and he got about 4 yards off the left side.
There's the neatest sign in Gwinnett County that says, "No pain, no gain, thank you, Billy," and they spell Payne, P-A-Y-N-E.
Yes, Billy Payne, of course, we have to brag on him a little bit because he's a University of Georgia graduate, was an outstanding football player down there, and he and his crew just did a super job in that effort to bring the Olympic Games to Atlanta. Second down and 5 now for the Indians from about the 13-yard line. They run the fullback up the middle and got a couple of yards out over the 15 to maybe the 17. No, and now they've got a man breaking out here over the 20, the 25, the 30. This is Geno Gibson to the 40, the 45, the 50. We thought they had him stopped, and all of a sudden Gibson just came out of the pack with a football, and he's out over the 50 to about the 49-yard line of Hart County. It looked like they had him jammed up, and then Gibson just came out of the pack with it and runs for a Stevens County first down all the way to the Hart 49-yard line. It's been a night of big plays, Stephen. I'm sure you heard that Jabbar Wiley had 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Boy, I'm impressed with Stevens Field. It really looks good.
We were talking about that earlier and just how well they have it marked off. It's really great to do a ball game from here. First down Indians. Chad McFarland, who's in there at quarterback now, gives off to the fullback. Geno Gibson drives in there to about the 45-yard line. Got about 4 on the play.
I did not hear Ted Taylor talking about Miami football quite as much as I thought I would hear him talking.
Well, Miami had a setback the other day.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Gain was 4 on the play. It'll be second down and 6 now for the Indians. We had a couple of other scores earlier. Rabun County was leading Jackson County 14-12, and Commerce and Oglethorpe County were locked up in a 6-6 battle. Second down Indian, movement in the line, and that's going to cost them 5 yards for illegal procedure.
We'd certainly like to thank Ted Taylor for sitting in for us tonight, and I know all of y'all are looking forward to the Ted Taylor scoreboard until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning, and you're right, you are inundated with a plethora of bugs in here.
What was that word?
An overabundance.
No, the plethora.
That's what plethora means, overabundant.
You've been studying.
Somebody told it to me yesterday.
Second and 11 Indians. They're back on the Stevens County side of midfield. McFarland, a quarterback, going to give it off to Al Burton, who's in there to running back, and Burton drives from about 3 yards down to the Hart County 48-yard line.
Several sponsors are with us tonight for WZLI, including Nuts and Bolts Ace Hardware Toccoa and Big M Ace Hardware Hartwell, Liberty Bank and Trust, All Good Auto Supply, Stevens County Hospital, Caldell Realty, just to name a few of the sponsors. A few others, Toccoa Ford Lincoln Mercury and Toccoa Service Gas.
Indians are third down and 9 at the 48 of Hart County. McFarland to run the dive play. They give it to number 34. That's Jawan Warren, who's in there now. One, not much running room there. They're going to be fourth down right at the line of scrimmage, 4th and 9 at the 48 of Hart County.
A lot of people were leaving the game a few minutes ago. Everybody must have thought I was crazier than normal. Everybody else was leaving, and I was coming into this mess of people.
How'd you get in? The traffic goes one way out.
Well, I don't know. I came in down here by the theater. I came in the out and almost got done in.
Brannock back deep for Hart County. Had a long return on the last punt. Jason Oliver to kick. They blow one man through off the side. It's high kick this time. Brannock's going to take it in at his 12-yard line. They fake the reverse again, and he breaks off a tackle and really gets cracked as he comes in over the 20-yard line. On the big hit for Stevens County there is Robert Rulin, one of their defensive linemen. They were having no part of the fake reverse that time. It'll be 1st and 10 Hart from just outside their own 20-yard line.
You have a schedule in front of you, Bud. Do you know when Stevens will meet Elberton and when Stevens will meet Habersham?
Stevens County plays at Elbert County next Friday night in the Granite Bowl in Elberton, and then the Habersham Central Stevens County game will be here at the reservation on October the 26th. 1st and 10 Hart now from their own 20.5-yard line. We're down to the 6.5-minute mark. Indians with a 35-7 lead. Whitworth, the quarterback, back to throw. Going to throw out in the flats. It's complete to Jason Kraft, who shakes off a tackler, comes up over the 30. He's still running 35, 40, and they're going to say he stepped out of bounds, I think, at about the 43-yard line. So good pass play there for Hart County, and we've got an injured player across the way. Tell you what, while they attend to him, let's take a 1-minute break. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Service Gas Company keep you warm this winter. They've been this area's dependable.
We were away. Hart County ran a reverse play to that wide receiver, Brian Brannock, and they got about 5 yards out over the 45 to call it the 47-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down and 5 there for the Bulldogs. Brannock, a talented player. You remember, Stephen, in the regular season game last year, he caught the touchdown pass that proved to be the game winner for Hart County in the closing minutes of the ball game. Whitworth, the quarterback, back to throw, looking, going to throw long down this side over here, and Michael Harrison on coverage for the Indians, and now a flag goes down real late after the play was over. Pass was intended for Jason Kraft, the tight end, and that's going to be an interference call. I don't know whether it'll be offensive or defensive.
One of the longest first halves I've ever noticed in football. It just went on and on and on. Well, I was glad it did. Gave me a chance to help you out a little tonight. But it just really was a long first half.
Yes, it took over an hour to play that first half. And we were 9:30 starting the second half. And usually we're getting close to starting the fourth quarter by then. The call is offensive pass interference against the Hart County receiver. So it looked like pretty good coverage by Michael Harrison on defense. Harrison had an interception that he returned for a touchdown last week against Franklin County. 3rd down now for Hart County, as that penalty is a loss of down. The Bulldogs send twin wide receivers to this side and to the far side. 4 wide receivers. Going to throw deep down the middle this time, and he just overthrows everybody, trying to throw to Wilson. And back there on coverage for the Indians, that's number 10, Abdul Pulliam. So 4th down now for the Bulldogs, 4th and long from their own 32.5-yard line.
Y'all have any score yet on Franklin and Shamrock from Decatur?
Haven't heard anything on that one. I'm sure Ted is working, trying to find that out for us.
He's got his people on it.
Yes. Shane Bowers, the Hart County kicker, checks in. Of course, the Indians blocked a punt here earlier tonight to set up their second touchdown of the game, and they've got 10 people up on the line. I doubt if they would go after the kicker here with a 35-7 lead. Jason Oliver back in safety. Indians play down at Elbert County next Friday night as they face another of the contenders from 8 AAA South. The Blue Devils, as we told you a while ago, the last report we had, they were trailing Habersham Central 16-7 in that big battle over at Habersham tonight.
Isn't it kind of unusual that the last I heard, those 3 teams are 3, 4, and 5 in the state?
That's really says something about the caliber of football in Region 8 AAA. Indians blow a man through. Scott Payne almost blocked his second punt of the night. They're going to back away and let it hit, and the ball rolls down to about the 33 or 34-yard line. Payne was close to blocking that one. He had the block earlier for the Indians.
A little surprised with the similarity between the score in this game and the score last Saturday night?
Maybe a little bit, although super, and they made those big plays, but it was a close football game. Wide receiver to this side for the Indians. They split. That's number 9, Terrence Dooley, out to this side. Going to run the dive play to the fullback, and that's number 34 for the Indians, Jawan Warren, who comes out close to the 38-yard line. Got about 4 yards on the carry. A lot of reserves in the ball game now. We're trying to pick these numbers up as we play. Stevens County sends a play in by John Bryson, who's in there at split end now.
It's probably amazing if you were really analyze the amount of time the reserves have been able to play for Stevens County in these first 3 games. Ringo, Franklin, and Hart.
Stephen, we have a score. This is a final. Habersham Central 16, Elbert County 13, and Johnson of Gainesville has defeated Monroe area 27-12.
Thank you, Ted.
Thanks, Ted. So Elbert did make a comeback there, but couldn't pull it out, and Hab holds on for a 16-13 win over Elbert County tonight. And while we were away, Stevens County ran a play, and there's a penalty marker down. I think they're going to get penalized for illegal procedure. Be a 5-yard penalty. 11 now for the Indians from the 33-yard line. Wide receiver to this side is Rocky Baskins, who's in there now, and Playstead going to run the option play and come out over the 35 to about the 37-yard. Or rather, that's Aaron Griffin. Aaron Griffin on the option carry that time. Gain was 4 yards, so the Indians facing a 3rd down and 7 now from their own 37-yard line. Clock's under 4 minutes now. This one's been decided for a while, but we've got some younger players in there getting some valuable playing time in the game now.
Greg, we want to be sure and thank all our sponsors tonight. Among them, Roger McNabb at Big M Ace Hardware in Hartwell, who works, of course, with Nuts and Bolts Ace Hardware in Toccoa.
And he's going to run the option play. This is Aaron Griffin again, and he's going to get swarmed under right at about the line of scrimmage. One of the first Hart County players to get there was Jermaine Strange. He had some help from Freddie Oglesby, a defensive end.
Greg, in a big game down at Clark Central High School in Athens, it was LaGrange 28 and Clark Central 18.
All right, thank you, Ted. The number 1 team in Class 4A, LaGrange, holds on as they win in a tough place to win at down at Clark Central.
Gregory, it looks like they have another station in Stevens County, Georgia. You're tuned to WZLI FM 106.1. WZLI, Toccoa, North Georgia, and the Western Carolinas. Stephen Gower along with Gregory Pitts. Again, our thanks to Ted Taylor for sitting in for us for most of the game tonight. And you can join Ted just in a few moments for Scoreboard until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Indians 4th down. Jason Oliver, the punter, in there. A little bit of a low snap, but Oliver gets the kick away. End-over-end kick that's going to be taken in at the 39-yard line by one of the Hart County up-backs. That's number 21, Kevin Morris, on the return. Kevin Morris, the nephew of Stevens County former basketball coach and now teacher still at the high school, Charlie Morris. He's the son of Willard Morris. And Kevin broke the school record last year down at Hart County for pass interceptions in one season. And had a great year, and he's one of the returnees on that defensive unit this year.
And Willard has helped us a lot do some basketball reporting for Hart County.
Bulldogs, first down. They run number 32, David Jackson, off the left side for a couple of yards out to about the 43-yard line. These bugs are something tonight, Stephen. They've been dive bombing us from outside tonight, the bugs I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm having to readjust the headphones. Ted's head fits differently than my head or something. Look at all those cars leaving. Y'all be careful as you drive home, and don't forget Ted Taylor's Scoreboard. He's only in his 14th year of the thing now, and he'll be with you until 1 a.m. now tomorrow morning.
Bulldogs go to a power eye on 2nd and 8 and run Jackson off the right side. He's got a hole. He's over midfield down to the 48, maybe the 47-yard line before number 7 for the Indians, Chad McFarland, who's in there on defense now. McFarland's the quarterback playing some defense right now. Down to the 2-minute, 2-second mark as they move the chains. Another Hart County first down. Hart County's had a lot of yardage tonight, Stephen, a lot of first downs, but they just haven't been able to follow through with the drives. 35-7, Indians lead. First down Hart at the Stevens 48. They run the sweep to this side. That's Jackson again, who's tripped up on a good play over there for Stevens County by number 44, Willis Stevens, one of their linebackers.
Haven't heard you say much about Georgia, Alabama.
They're going to play tomorrow in Athens. And two teams that I think are off to a much different start than a lot of people thought. Alabama off to an 0-2 start. They've lost a couple of very close football games. Georgia, it seems like every day, just has a new adversity to try and overcome. They've lost since the beginning of the year. 5 regulars off the defensive unit. And Whitworth going to throw on second down here down the middle, incomplete. But sometimes when you have all that adversity and all of that, that won't be an easy task for the Paladins, who play Division I AA football. This is Jackson for Hart County on a dive off the right side. Got a couple of yards, maybe 4, down to about the 30-43 of Stevens County.
If you're tuning in from different ball games, we have 1 minute to go with this game from the reservation in Stevens County, Georgia, where the Stevens County Indians lead the Hart County Bulldogs 35-7 with now 48, 47, 46 seconds to go in the game.
Hart, wide receiver to the far side. That's number 10. We don't have a 10 on the roster, so Whitworth back to throw. He's going to look down that sidelines. In trouble, going to get tripped up and sacked for a loss. Flowing through there to make the play for Stevens County's Kendrick Maxwell, a sophomore defensive end who comes through to make the play. And clock stopped now. I think we've got a player injured. And I tell you what, while they look at the injured player, let's take a 1-minute break. We'll be back in 1 minute.
All Good Auto Supply in Toccoa, the place for auto parts. All Good has a complete...
County Partisans. Ted will somehow get in touch with Shamrock High School down near Decatur, Georgia, and see what's going on down there. Here, of course, we'll check in on all the late-minute reports for Habersham Central's victory, 16-13, over Elbert County. Don't forget, next Friday night, Stevens County will be playing in the Granite Bowl against Elbert County.
Indians first down at the Hart 47. They run the fullback up the middle for a couple of yards, and that may be the last play of the ball game. We're down to 10 seconds now. Stevens County going to win their 3rd straight. Down to 5 seconds now. Indians have certainly done nothing to damage their number 3 state ranking here tonight. As the clock winds down to 0, your final score from the reservation: Stevens County 35, Hart County 7. We'll be back here after this 2-minute break.
The Holland bulbs are in at Frick's Landscape Nursery and Garden Center, so get your fall planting underway. Frick's also has a nice selection of pansies and fall mums, along with their other fall planting goodies. Look for their bargain boxes and bags and get your bulb